Girl Talk is the stage name of a guy called Greg Gillis, who is a DJ from Pennsylvania. He specialises in mashups using digital samples of other people's work. He has released 5 full-length albums. The first was in 2002, and the most recent was in 2010. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the third album released under the name Girl Talk. It's my second review of a Girl Talk album. I've not heard this album before, but I knew what to expect, and in that sense, it didn't disappoint. I would say, I'm going to try and just say this and move on. I didn't quite love it as much as the other one that I reviewed, which was Feed the Animals. But I still enjoyed it. I thought it was good. So let's try and describe what's going on here. It's one big track. It is split up into tracks, but it's one continuous whole, and is definitely best listened to as a continuous whole. And it's a mashup. And apparently there's more than 300 samples here. Almost all of it is samples from other people's stuff. There's a little bit of his own keyboard playing apparently in here, and I wouldn't be able to pick out which bits they were for fairly obvious reasons when you get into it. And it's all woven together and snatches used. It all makes musical sense in that he has stuff together that's in the same key and works with the same chord sequences and things like that, and the speeds, and it does ebb and flow speed-wise through the album for obvious reasons to fit in different stuff going in here. Mostly, I would say there's effectively 3 layers of stuff going on here. So there's the beats in the background, but fairly strong because the overall feel is a hip-hop kind of feel. There's singing and rapping, mostly rapping, bits that he's sampled, and then there's the rest, which is the background stuff, and it all feels like hip-hop. In fact, some kind of crazy sampled hip-hop taken to some kind of extreme, but done skillfully and done, as I said, with musical sense. I would say the rapping is occasionally rude. There's some sexual imagery. There's not a lot of violent stuff in here. I did recognise a few bits. Mostly, I have to say, I wasn't actually paying attention to the rap, and bits of singing I heard and noticed. The beats are beats. They seem fine. Again, they're sampled. I don't know to what extent the beats are actually the beats from the backing. I suspect that there are definitely places where there's another beat superimposed on top to give it a different feel. And again, I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about that either, because mostly I listen to the backing. So it's the other stuff going on. And that's where he samples from all over, all the way back through. I heard stuff that I recognise from, fairly recent. I don't necessarily know that much of recent stuff, but going back through 90s, 80s, 70s, even 60s, and possibly even further, I didn't recognise anything from earlier than that, I don't think. And it's mostly what I'm doing when I'm listening is I'm trying to spot bits that I know and go, yes, that's such and such. And then it's a bit like that thing when you see an actor on a film and you go, what was that actor in? And trying to kind of place them. And it's very much like you're hearing these snatches and trying to place it. It feels a bit like playing a quiz. Listen to this. He has a particular thing that he does sometimes on this album, which is to play 2 bits from a particular song, and he'll start with 1 bit, which definitely gets you going, what is that? I'm not quite sure what it is. It is not as easy to identify, and then he plays a second bit from the song. I'm like, oh yes, and he plays something like the hook line from the chorus or something, and you immediately get it, or at least with the ones that I knew I did. One of the classic examples of that, I think, is Tiny Dancer, which is an Elton John song which he used, which I'm going to try and put at the end as we play out over the end of this video. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm not sure how much long-term appeal an album like this has. I don't know if I would listen to it again and again and again. I think some people might. I'm not sure that would be what I'd want to do. A couple of times is good, and it kind of stretches my quiz feeling, and just kind of admiring how cleverly it's been put together. So we've got to the end again. That's what I think, and I'm going to invite you, as always, please do, don't be shy, tell me what you think about this album, about the review, about the weather, about the style. No, maybe we don't want politics or anything like that in here. So please talk to me through the comments box. That's it from me for now.
I let my tape rock till my tape pop, smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match. Remember rapping Duke? The hard, you never thought that hip-hop would take it this far. Now I'm in the limelight cause I rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like the world trade. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner? Peace to Ron G, Brucey B.